everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to all the MGMs, our mentor gang members in the building. Let me know where you're checking in from. Just gonna do a Q&A today. No topic. Not gonna even attempt to do a topic. It is the Super Bowl. That's why I am on early. So just gonna do a brief Q&A. Probably not gonna be. Well, I know I'm not gonna be on here that long. So quick Q&A. If anybody has any questions, I will be on to answer them. Other than that, that's about it. Let me know where you're checking in from. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you come on in. And that's where we're at. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to everybody that is here. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to everybody that's here. And I'm just going to do a Q&A today, and then I'll end the live. So if you got some questions, go ahead and ask them. Don't ask me anything about Super Bowl because I'm not really interested in it. I don't even follow it. So I'm here for box truck questions and cargo van questions. And then I will let you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Nick is in the building, Tennessee. Got Ohio in the building, Chicago in the building with Chicagoland. So that means you're from the suburbs somewhere, but it's all the same. Chicagoland in the building. All right. So any questions, any topics, anything anybody want to talk about? I didn't want to not do a live, I said, well, I'll at least come on and do a brief Q&A, but so if there's any questions, comments, topics anybody want to talk about, let me know and we can discuss it, and then I'll let you guys go on about your day. New York in the house. New York definitely in the building. Chicago. Bunch of places in the building. All right. Q&A. This is a Q&A. Everybody be DMing me their questions. But then when I do a Q&A, don't nobody got no questions. Or people wait for somebody else to ask their questions first. Maybe let me put it up on Instagram that I'm on live. I didn't do that. Let me do that real quick because that's where I get most of my questions at, on Instagram. All day, every day, middle of the night. I wake up to a bunch of DMs. Let me move this out the way. How do you get subcontractors without paying workers' compensation? If you get subcontractors, and you're not going to pay workers' compensation. If you contracted them out, they don't work for you to have to pay workers' compensation. You may have to get accidental occupational insurance depending on the contract you're dealing with, if they require it. But when you have a subcontractor, they're not directly employed through you. They're on a 1099. So hey, I'm from PA. I'm trying to find a good insurance for cargo van locally. You have any suggestions? I think you should find a commercial insurance broker in Pennsylvania. It's licensed to write in Pennsylvania, and then have him shop your cargo van business on the insurance market and see what comes back, and let the insurance broker present you with rates in your area. I can't give you a specific company. When you say local, you can get commercial insurance. They write, most insurance companies write for multiple states. Your broker may be just licensed in that state, but I would get a commercial insurance broker and have him shop your company on the market to see what comes back. That's your best chance of getting the best rates. We got San Antonio in the building. Pippi is in the building. Shout out to all the MGMs. For a box truck, would you recommend cashing out 20 to 25 on a used truck or dropping a down payment on financing? It all depends on your situation. If you want to, if you're financing at a place that is going to build your business credit, and that's what you're interested in, building your business credit, then by all means finance. If you are in a situation where you can comfortably write a check and pay for the truck up front, and you're not interested with building your business credit, then you can do that also. I wasn't interested in building business credit. I had 2 business credit cards at the beginning, and my first 3 trucks I just wrote a check. I understand people want to build their business credit so that they can go out and get loans and things of that nature, but borrowing money was never really an interest of mine, because I was able to float the company with the money that was coming in. I had money coming in. I knew how to manage my books. I understood overhead. I understood margins. So I had a lot of cash flow. At the very beginning, my cash flow was heavy. You know what I'm saying? So if and I understand too that in this business, it doesn't involve, outside of your trucks are going to be your biggest asset. It's not like construction where you're getting heavy machinery, heavy equipment, and you're going to need lines of credit or loans for hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? If you get your box truck and you cash out, let's say, and you're on that truck and you're running it up and your overhead is low, you don't have a truck note, you're paying your insurance and all your variable costs, and you're on the truck and you're making the money, then you can get as a business credit card or 2 and build your business credit up like that. But if you want to use the truck, financing the truck to also build your business credit up as well, that's up to you. Building business credit was really never a big thing to me at the beginning, because my business had cash flow, and the business just built the credit up over a period of time of just me using the credit card from time to time, which I really didn't even use my business credit cards at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So my business credit has built up slowly over the years, but ultimately it's up to you. If you got the capital up front and that's what you want to do, then by all means, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. Who do you use for payroll since you're S Corp? I've always used an accounting firm. So you can find an accounting firm in your area and hire them, and based on the amount of employees you have would determine how much they charge you. But that accounting CPA firm that you hire, that's a write-off as well. So say, for instance, you pay them $100 a month to balance your books and do your payroll. That $100 that you pay them, they're going to write that off. That's a write-off for you as well under accounting. So that's a write-off. I'm so confused on what to do as far as the cargo van thing. I see people saying don't do it, rates are low, but I'm only interested in local for Dallas, not OTR. A lot of people say a lot of things. It's not easy now. You know what I'm saying? It's not. See, you got to understand, a lot of people that are saying that got into the space during the pandemic. So they entered into an inflated arena where, they didn't understand the business then, and they still don't understand the business now. For them to be saying the rates are bad, rates are pretty much normalized. When you enter into something in an inflated, time period, you think, or they thought that that was just the way things were and always were, but it's not. Things corrected themselves, and it's difficult to them because they got in when costs were high, everything was high, and when things came, I can't even say crashing back down, when things corrected themselves, it's, the industry is trash, the industry is this, the industry is that. They were making money and they didn't appropriate their funds correctly. They didn't realize, look, these are, unusually high rates that we're getting. They weren't that knowledgeable in the industry upon entering to know, look, these are unreasonably high rates that we're getting. I need to bank a lot of this money because eventually it's going to correct itself. They didn't have the right mentors, they didn't have the right coaching. The people that they were coaching were, saying that, this is just a way to make millions of dollars. And, you know, you can enter right now. You know what I'm saying? You can enter right now. You can find something local with your cargo van. There's plenty of medical contracts. There's plenty of office supply contracts, dedicated, Granger, a lot of retail dedicated contracts with logistics companies. And then with a cargo van, you have a plethora of different gig apps that you can supplement as well. So if you're doing your dedicated stuff throughout the day or however you're doing it, you also have a lot of different gig apps that you can supplement income with as well. So opportunities are there to make the money. Don't let people discourage you saying it's this or it's that. It's not this or it's that. It's what it's supposed to be. You just have to make sure that you enter into the space the correct way, so you're not operating your business at a loss because you kind of over leverage yourself by, well, let me not say that you got into the space, right, with high expenses and you can't make money because rates are here, but your expenses are here. You got to kind of enter the business where, look, okay, boom, on average, my cargo van can make about $400 a day. All right. So I know I can't go out and buy, let's say, a brand new Sprinter 2023 and for 67, let's say 60 grand, and I'm going to be paying a $1,500 a month note and $1,200 a month insurance. I got to get a van. This is where I need to be for my van. I need to be paying about this much a day for insurance. You got to do all that prior to you getting into the space so that when you do enter into the space, you understand, look, these are my margins, my overhead. I'm entering with a very low overhead. So my margin should be right about here. So I'm making money. If you get into a space and you enter into a space with all this overhead and you didn't do your due diligence to understand that your rates are going to be here and your margin is going to be here, but you enter with this much overhead, you're never going to make money. So you got to do your due diligence prior to getting in to make sure that you leave yourself enough room to profit. And then the work ethic is there as well. Like, listen, like the work that these people that are saying this were doing, they were doing very minimal work and making X amount of dollars because rates were inflated. So you didn't have to do as much. If you want to really make some money, you got to work. You know what I'm saying? You got to work. So that's it. And that's all. At the beginning, you're going to do the most work initially at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to recoup the investment that you put into the business to get started. So I wouldn't be, I know how it can be confusing, but there is local work in Dallas. Dallas is a big market. T-Force corporate headquarters is in Dallas. All right. So, you can go to T-Force and they got Office Depot. You can do that with your van all day long. You know what I'm saying? Or half of the day at least. They also got Granger. They also got StockX and American Eagles and Zara and Home Depot and a bunch of other contracts. Some of those contracts, like you're not gonna be able to do Home Depot with a van, but Office Depot is one of their biggest, if not still their biggest contract. And that's a van contract. So, and that's local. That's 5 days a week. You know what I'm saying? So depending on the piece count you get, you're making $300 a day on average with that account. And then after you finish that, you can go supplement your income with your van the rest of the day doing whatever you want to do. You want to do medical supply delivery. You want to do medical pharmaceutical specimen pickup and delivery. If you want to go do Amazon Flex, if you want to go do Spark, if you want to go do roadie, freight, sky's the limit. So, it's just how much you willing to work, so I wouldn't get deterred from what other people are saying. They just, it didn't work out for them because they didn't enter into the space correctly. I use QuickBooks for payroll. Yeah, you could use QuickBooks for payroll. If you're operating, let's say just you and your business, one truck, one crew, or just you, then I wouldn't recommend paying a CPA on a month-to-month basis. I would pay them when it's time to file your corporate filings, your corporate taxes. I just pay them that one time, and I would use QuickBooks to manage your expenses, your accounts receivable, accounts payable, your P&L. Let the software balance all that for you. As long as you're inputting your expenses in every time you're spending money, and as long as you're inputting your accounts receivable in, it's gonna itemize and manage it for you, and then you can just forward that CSV when tax time is around, or download it, print it out, and hand it over to your accountant when it's time to do your corporate taxes. And I would just pay them for that to do your taxes when it's time to file your corporate taxes. I wouldn't pay if it's just you and your truck or you and your van a monthly fee. You want to do that when you're dealing with multiple pieces of equipment and multiple employees. Then because I'm telling you, I pay $250 a month. At my peak, I was paying $250 a month for accounting. All right, so it all depends on how many guys. But if it's just you, then I wouldn't spend that type of money. I've seen people say they use different companies and it runs a few grand. Well, you can use different accountings. It don't run a few grand. At my peak, I was paying $250 a month, to the accounting firm, to handle my payroll, not a few grand. So I don't know. Now, maybe for like a large corporation where they got hundreds or thousands of employees, then I could see that. But like 30 people, nah. $250 a month. Needs the artist. Appreciate you for coming in the live. QuickBooks $50 a month for 3 months, then $150 a month after. They got a plan right now for $15 a month. Let me pull it up. I had pulled it up on a live stream the other day, but hold on, I can pull it up now. Let's see. I think I got one because I actually did pull it up the other live stream. I think the last live stream I did. I think it's $15 a month. $15 a month. Simple start. I'm gonna share. That's all you really need. You don't need the let me see. Let me share this real quick. So this is all you need. You only need the simple start. This right here, the $15 a month simple start, that's all you need. Your income and expenses, your invoice and payments, your tax deductions, right? As you input your expenses in, it's going to start itemizing that for your, for your tax deductions, your general reports, which is good. You always want to see your reports, your P&L, your profit and loss statement. You want to see how much is coming in, how much is going out, how balance your books. Receipt capture. Receipt capture is basically when you are doing your expenses. Let's say you go to the gas station, you pump your fuel, you pay for your fuel, but you need to go in and purchase some gloves to pump the gas or something. That's a write-off, right? That's for your business, right? You're going to input that, whatever you spent on the gloves, say $10. You input the $10, and then in the app, you can take a picture of the receipt and it's going to save it. All right. You could take the picture, or you could just input the amount, or you could do both, however you want to do it. Mileage tracking, your cash flow. We talk about cash flow. I did a live stream. Was it last Sunday or last Thursday? Probably was there. It was Sunday, I think. We talked about cash flow. I did a whole live stream on cash flow and why cash flow is important. A lot of people don't understand the difference between cash flow and net profit. Cash flow is what every business needs to sustain. A lot of people don't have cash flow. All right. They don't understand, or they don't know the formula of, paying themselves and paying their taxes and having money in the pot, which is cash flow. All right. Your money after your expenses are paid, what's left, that's not what you made. I keep telling people that, but yet and still people always say, well, after I pay my fuel and my tolls and my login, my electronic login and the fuel, and I booked a hotel one night, and I had left $1,000, so that's what I made. It ain't what you made. You still got to pay yourself out of that $1,000. The business is the business, and you are an individual. you're not the business. If you got ABC Trucking, that's ABC Trucking. If you can't treat yourself like the trucking company. The trucking company is its own entity. You're your own entity. You got to pay yourself out of that 1,000. You need to set about 33% of that to the side for Uncle Sam for your quarterlies, right? And then what's left over is your cash flow, So it's going to help you manage your cash flow, your sales and your sales tax, which you don't have to worry about because you're running a service-based business. Service-based business, you don't have sales tax. You're not selling a good, so that's not something that you worry about, all right? So it's going to give you all of this for $15 a month, all right? You really don't need all of this extra stuff for $27 a month, $42 a month, $100 a month. You don't need that. All you need really is your income and expenses, your invoice and payments. Your payments is your accounts receivable, stuff, money that's coming in, all right? Your income, money coming in, your expenses, money going out, reports you're going to need, right? Receipt capture you're going to need. You can utilize the mileage tracking if you want to. Cash flow, you're going to need that. So, they got a plan for $15 a month. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about the $50. You could do it $15 a month. $15 a month would be Gucci. What's the one thing you wish you would have done before getting into the trucking industry? I wish I would have known that what's going on now, what's happened in the last 3 years was going to happen. If I would have known that, I would have got out in 2018. I would have been gone. You see what I'm saying? I would have prepared to exit prior to the pandemic. As far as anything else, as far as fundamentals of the business and the industry, nothing. You understand, when I got in, as far as my lane in this business, it was the Wild Wild West. So a lot of things that I was able to do and accomplish, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish that stuff now. A lot of the rates and money that I was making then, I wouldn't have been able to make that type of money now, right? That's why I talk about early adopters. Now, when I got in, did I realize I was an early adopter in Final Mile because of the early stages of e-commerce? And, a lot of companies back then weren't selling things on websites like they are now. I went through the process of retail companies adopting an online presence, right? So I went through that, and I went through logistics companies trying to figure out how to incorporate Final Mile, dealing with retail, that these companies had just been dealing with middle mile since their inception all these years, and now they have to do this online and get stuff to people's doorsteps and in their home. I went through the growing pains of that with the third party logistics companies, and I was able to capitalize and maximize my earning potential on that without really knowing it at the time. Looking back on it now, I'm like, okay, this is why I was able to get $500 a route, and this is why I was able to get a guarantee $500 a route with one stop. You see what I'm saying? One stop. That's unheard of now. So I can't say what I would have known. Nothing, as far as the fundamentals, as far as maybe like having a crystal ball and looking into the future. If I would have known, we would go through like a generational like a generational curve as far as the way people look at work. If I would have known we would have went through a pandemic, if I'd have known that something like gig apps weren't even invented yet, when I got started. If I would have known all these would have changed the landscape of the industry, I would have planned an exit strategy around 2018 or 2019, let's say. I would have exited, in 2019. But you can't predict the future. So ultimately nothing. I think everything that happened, it happened, and everything lined up, I think now what I tell people now, though, that are entering into a space that I've learned over the years from being an entrepreneur is always to, be prepared for transition, always be prepared for change. It's like something that I've been talking about lately, and I see other people are starting to talk about this stuff now, but, you guys know who've been talking about it, first. nothing lasts forever, and technology is moving at a much rapid pace than it has ever moved in time periods past. So you have to be prepared for change. You have to get in and get out. And as you're getting in, you're making money. You see yourself making money, profited. You need to be pushing that money back out. You know, to me, it's not cool to have money in the bank just to look at it, make 0.001% or whatever it makes in your savings account. I don't like the fact that the bank makes more money off my money than me. You know, they take your money, they loan your money on higher interest rates that they pay you for having your money, right? They buy property with your money. They make investments with your money. And ultimately, they make more money off your money than you. So when you make this money, you need to be pushing it back out into other things so that it can make more money. Just like I said, you got to look at your money like soldiers, right? Every dollar, look at it like a soldier. Send those soldiers out to recruit more soldiers. Every dollar is a soldier. Send your soldiers out to recruit more soldiers. If you look at it like that way, you're going to see your money continue to grow. You know what I'm saying? You got to take money from the trucking and invest it into this. That's going to bring back money. Send it back out. Invest it over there into that. As that money starts coming back in, send it back out. Send it over there, invest it. And then you're going to see your money grow. Ultimately, while creating an exit plan in this one industry, jumping into that industry, making your money over there. While you're making your money, you're creating another business, another plan, creating another stream of revenue, and you also have an exit strategy for this one. Technology is moving very, very quickly. So, you know, that's the only thing that I wish I wouldn't have held on as long as I did. Last year I spent $6K on accounting, payroll services. I wish I started with QuickBooks. Yeah, $6K. How many people you got working for you? $6K is a lot. If you ain't got 100 people working for you, then that's a lot of money. Would you suggest doing this part-time? I think about only doing it part-time, not giving up my job for this. Doing what? The van or the truck? If you got a career, listen, if you getting into trucking, you can't, like, especially if it's OTRs, you can only really do one or the other. The OTR trucking is a career within itself. So I don't know what you do for a living, and I don't know what you're talking about as far as giving up. You trying to do a truck, a van, over the road. No part-time, you wouldn't make enough money for repairs. Yeah, I would. Can you discuss tax deductions, like personal experience and what has helped you save money? I've heard many different things, like using QBI, put money into 401k. So tax deductions. All right, for you as an individual, when you loan a business money, you're getting tax deductions. All right, write-offs. So look at it like this. You got two ways you can do it, right? In the early stages, I recommend a person pay themselves less money, all right? Because a lot of the money you're going to be paying yourself in the early stages, a lot of that money, honestly, you're going to be reinvesting that right back into the business. So when you pay yourself in the early stages less and you have to reinvest that money right back into the business, loan that business money, ultimately all those income taxes that you were getting deducted, you're going to get all that money back at the end of the year. So let's say you pay $5,000 in income tax, right, from paying yourself throughout the year from your business. And let's say that same $5,000 that got taken out, you reinvested the money that you made after taxes. A lot of that money, you invested it back into the business. You had to loan the business money. You're going to get all that tax money back. Now, you can do that for the first 3 years, up to 3 years, right? As the business starts to grow and you start to see the business profiting and you have substantial cash flow, then you can start increasing your pay up until the point where you can start paying yourself handsomely. All right. Once your business gets a certain amount of cash flow, you got to understand, here's how the game is played. You're going to pay these taxes one way or another. The more cash flow you have, the more taxes you're going to have to pay. So then you want to start paying yourself personally handsomely. All right. The business is sustaining. We got a lot of money. It's a lot of money in the bank. I got to start spending some of this money because I don't want to get taxed on it. You go buy a car. You need a new car, right? for personal, right? But you got this successful company. Smart thing to do is be to lease the company under the business. Now, you got these people out there saying, oh, well, don't lease, buy, and all this goofy stuff that these rappers say, and they put into your head and send you off. You got to think like a business plan, all right? If you got X amount of dollars, you got $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 just in cash flow, right? This is why you see these big corporate people go out and buy Rolls Royces and stuff. Is it because they're really into these big luxury cars? No, it's because they get a bigger tax break. It's a more expensive car. They need a car anyway. So, man, we got millions of dollars. We need to spend this money, right? So you need a car. You go buy a car you go lease a car under the business. Now that's a tax write-off, right? You're paying the lease agreement. That's a write-off, right? Can't write off the mileage, but you're writing off the fuel, right? Because the company is leasing that car, right? And then here's another thing that a lot of people don't know, or they don't tell you. You also can write off the depreciation. All right. You can also write off the depreciation. Depreciation. I know one year, my 7 Series, I got $9,000 in depreciation one year on that car. And my CPA was saying, man, you leased this car at the right time. I was able to write off $9,000 in depreciation off the BMW, which saved me a lot of money paying into the government. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know how to spend your money. When you get to a certain level, I recommend getting a CPA. Like once you start really making money and you just got a lot of cash flow sitting, you want to talk to your CPA about how you can maneuver and write things off. That's why you see a lot of companies in Q4, they start spending money in Q4, like these big companies in Q4 at the end of the year, they just start buying stuff, right? Tables, chairs, whatever they really need. All right. They'll just buy it all in Q4 before December 31st, right? Because they're trying to pay less taxes. So they just start spending money, trying to burn through money to pay less taxes. Hey, we need this stuff anyway. Better off spending the money and not paying the taxes. So it's a lot of ways you can, I don't want to say manipulate, but finesse the situation. You just got to know, how to do it. And this is something that you learn over time. A lot of these techniques that I learned from my accountant. You know what I'm saying? He schooled me to a lot of this stuff. I remember I bought a BMW. I bought it and he was like, why would you buy it? You could have just leased this under the business and I would have been able to write this off, that off, write the depreciation off. So then a year later, I got rid of that one. I traded it in and for a lease under the business, you know what I'm saying? And I was able to get all those deductions. You need a car. I just get it under the business. I'm driving it anyway. It's your business. You're the president of your business. Never make yourself the CEO. If you're running an escort, never make yourself the CEO. Just make yourself the president. You're the president, right? So, hey, I'm the president. This is a take-home vehicle. My job being the president of this company awards me a take-home vehicle. It just happens to be a Mercedes-Benz S580 or a BMW M760, or, if your company really has a lot of cash flow, it might be a Bentley. Or if really more cash flow, it might be a Rolls Royce, So it all depends on, your cash flow. But, you just got to know how to write stuff off, write as much off as possible. As you see your cash flow growing, just start writing stuff off. And then also start paying yourself handsomely. All right. Paying yourself, letting you get the tax, letting the tax come out of your pay. And then you're going to do your income tax at the end of the year anyway. So. But, there's a lot of other little tricks of the trade, you know what I'm saying? But you can learn a lot of this stuff from hiring an accountant. I've heard many different things like using QBI or putting money in the 401k. You could do that as well. So I put a lot of money in the 401k. I've been, when you're self-employed, you have to set yourself up for the future. So I got 3 different retirement funds. I got 3 different retirement funds. All right. So you got to put your money away from the future. That's another thing that a lot of owner operators and business people fail to realize. Listen, you're not working for a company, so they're not, doing this for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it for yourself. And the best thing to do to get it going is to just do it. Just do it. Sign up for one, right? Hook your banking information up, and then every first of the month they're going to deduct the money from you. And then, it is what it is, and you just kind of forget about it. You see it coming out, right? But it's something that got to be done. Just like health insurance, there's a lot of owner operators I talk to in consultation sessions. When I ask them their expenses, not one person has ever told me, in my health insurance. Not a one has ever said these are my expenses and included health insurance. So, health insurance is something that I think everybody should have. And if you're an owner, operator, business owner, it's your responsibility to pay for this stuff on your own. You gotta set this stuff up. I don't promote it because I feel like, man, everybody that is a subscriber is grown. I shouldn't have to tell a person like, yo, you gotta get health insurance and dental. This is something that that should be coming out. So, same thing with your 401k. I feel like everyone should be deducting, and it don't gotta be a lot, you know what I'm saying? Just a little. Sign up with Fidelity. You can get an app, Acorn, Stash, even Robinhood now. You can get a Roth, IRA. These are things that you gotta teach yourself, because if you're an owner operator, one day you're gonna not be an owner operator anymore, whether you do it 10 years or you go to full 25, 30 years and you retire. All right, you gotta have some money set in the future, all right, for retirement. So it's your responsibility to, set these things up. I've also been looking at starting a dispatching company versus buying a van. What's your opinion, dispatching? I'm not a big fan of dispatching. Middle mile has not been my lane. I'm a final mile moving, all right? But, I feel like if I was a middle mile operator, I would dispatch myself. 10% to me is a lot. I understand the margins are small, and I'm not knocking dispatchers. I know dispatchers don't like when people say that a person, I guess, of my influence who has a pretty sizable subscriber base, but I'm just going to be honest with you as a business person. Most of the dispatchers are charging 10%. All right. Let's be smart here. The average owner operator, right, making anywhere from 2.5% to 6% profit. All right. So if I can increase my margin by 10%, right, by just booking my own loads, I'm just gonna book my own loads. I'm not lazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take the time and do the due diligence to go on a load board and set myself up. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand, listen, I'm paying somebody 10% for something. I pay for stuff that I can't do myself, all right? Or I pay for stuff that, my time is worth more than me doing that, all right? My time is worth more in some situations, all right? For example, personal life. My time is more valuable than me cleaning up my crib. So sometimes I'll pay $150, $175 to have the little ladies come in and clean up the crib for me, right? Because I'm busy. The crib got to get clean once a week, right? But if I'm busy and I don't have those 3-4 hours to clean up the crib, right? Then it's better for me to just pay that $175, right? To have them come in and clean it up for me, because the time that I'm taking away from that is more valuable than that. So that $175, I'm making more, I'm doing more of value during that time that I would be losing more to clean up the crib. So I just pay the $175 while I'm making more than $175 in those 3-4 hours I'll be cleaning up the crib. That makes sense. But in a situation like this, 10% for something I can do myself while I'm down, once my clock is up, I'm sitting in the truck, I'm sitting in a hotel. I'm not going to, okay, the clock is up, straight to sleep. No, you're going to bum around. You're going to take your shower. You're going to get on the phone. You might watch a little TV, and somewhere in between that time, you could be on that load board scheduling your load for the rest of the week or for the next day. That 10% is a big difference. Person book you, let's say, $7,000 worth of loads for the week, right? That's $700. A person book you $10,000 worth of loads for the week. That's $1,000. You can divvy that $1,000 up any type of way. That's a few tanks of fuel. That's some hotel, 2 hotels and some fuel. However you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? man, that's cash flow for the business, or man, I can pay myself more. You know what I'm saying? However you want to do it, but that's something I feel like a person could do on their own. So that's how I feel about dispatching. Now, as far as a business is concerned, same thing. I'm not really too fond of that because that's a business that you got to pretty much, you're dealing with people. All right. You're dealing with people. You're dealing with people all times of the day, all times of the night, right? Because you're taking on clients. This group of drivers is going to drive during the day. This group of drivers is going to drive during the night. And you got to satisfy everybody. You know what I'm saying? And like I promote and teach on my channel, now you want to kind of find ways of doing business that involve less people. You want to make a lot of money, right? Doing less work, but ultimately you want to make a lot of money and you don't want to involve a lot of people. Why? Because when you're dealing with people, you know, people aren't really reliable. All right. I don't want to create new businesses going forward where I'm having to rely on people and, you know, they're relying on you, but you're just as so much relying on them, you know, as well, because guess what? They got to go out and run these loads in order for you to make that money. You got a lot of people that don't want to go over the road. You got a lot of people that want to sit at home, worry about what their girl doing, this, that, and the third. And then, you know, you're going to have people calling you 24 hours a day. Like, that's just not something that has ever been of interest to me, you know, but I'm not knocking you if that's what you want to do. But these are things that you need to think about. I think, me personally, I think there's other ways out there to make money that will involve, you know, less interaction with people. You know, but you know, that you asked me my thoughts on it, those are my thoughts, you know. I'm not a tax professor, so I don't want to comment on tax specifics. Yeah, me neither. That's why I say get a CPA. You know, I think, you know, the things that I discussed from the question he asked me were things that I was taught from my CPA. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other tricks of the trade that a CPA knows how to do. But I feel like, you know, once you get to a certain level, I think as far as employees, you should get a CPA. If it's just you, then I think QuickBooks will suffice until tax time. And then I wouldn't suggest doing your own taxes. I would suggest you getting a CPA for that as well. 6K is crazy. I was trying to stay around 2K. 6K is a lot of money. You know, I've never paid 6K for taxes. I mean, for an accounting firm. $250 a month is the highest I paid. You know, $250 a month. And this is with a sizable accounting firm here. You know, this ain't like no one guy working out of a cubicle. This is a guy who got a huge building, multiple floor accounting firm. You know what I'm saying? So $250 a month is what I paid at my peak, you know. And I didn't feel it, you know what I'm saying? And that was just to do my payroll pretty much, you know. So 6K is a lot. So I don't know what level of scale you were at, but oh yeah, 6K was my mistake. Yeah, I don't know like who. Yeah, I don't know, but you know, you live and you learn. I understand, Leo. You're not a financial advisor. That's just like hearing other opinions. Do you think 2,000 a day running one box truck locally is possible? The only thing I see a person making $2,000 a day locally in a box truck is moving company. I'm just trying to think of the most I've made in a box truck locally. My moving company, you could do that or more in a day, you know. But in a situation like that, you're dealing directly to consumer and you're charging them hundreds of dollars an hour. You're charging them a 20% markup on material, and then you're charging them the cost of the truck. So, you know, depending on how many guys, you're talking about anywhere from $125 to $300 an hour. You charge them a couple $100 for the truck, and then you're charging them the 20% markup on material. You know, some depending on some moves, you know, material costs could be in upwards of $1,000. Now, as far as like freight, grossing $1,000, like, I mean, $2,000, no, I'll be honest with you, because a top tier appliance delivery contract is going to pay you somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 a week. All right. So you're going to max out, and I'm in a big market. All right. I'm not in a small market. So, $250,000 a year contract for Final Mile is $5,000 to $7,000 a week. That's $1,000 a day. So I'm gonna be honest with you. No, I've never heard of that. $1,000 a day, maybe $1,250 is kind of pushing it, but $1,000 a day is pretty much the most I've seen in a box truck running freight outside of moving. Moving, yeah, you could do more than that. You could do $4,000 or $5,000 in a day with a moving truck for the right move, the right size house. But $2,000 a day with freight, I can't, locally, no. Would you recommend hiring an employee or independent contractor when starting last mile cargo van business? I'm still working full time and I'm in NYC. Would you recommend hiring an employee or independent contractor when starting a last mile cargo van? So here's the thing with a last mile cargo van business, your margins are going to be very, very small. So in my opinion, I would recommend you starting that business in the vehicle yourself. All right. But if you have a job and your job is something that you don't want to leave and you want to do this stream of revenue thing, then, and you got the money to float it, you may have to treat it like a Fortune 500 business. Let's say like Uber. Uber has been operating at a loss since its inception. Last quarter, Uber finally was profitable last quarter. And guess what? They weren't profitable off of Uber. The only reason they were profitable $600 million last quarter was because of their investments into other companies. Their investments into other companies have turned over a profit from them. But as far as Uber is concerned, they've been operating at a loss since their inception. Now, you can make money in a cargo van business at scale, right? But initially, because the margins are so small, if you're not on that first van, then you're probably going to be operating at a loss. Now, if you're willing to operate at a loss because you have another stream of revenue to float you through that process of, you scaling that business, which you're probably going to have to scale it up to about maybe 4 vans before you're able to start seeing profit, and you're able to do that, then, by all means, go ahead. But starting a cargo van business and you're not going to be on the truck, that's going to be very hard not to do. It's going to be hard to profit. I'm trying to think of what you can do Final Mile. Let's say you were doing Peloton. All right, let's say Select Express has Peloton. You're going to make about $600 a day, all right, for about 5 stops doing Peloton, right? Let's say you're in a market where you can get 5 to 6 stops a day, right? All right, they're doing Pelotons, they're doing in-home delivery, $600 a day. Your margins are very small. What do you think you got to pay 2 guys to lift these Pelotons and assemble these Pelotons throughout the day? All right, your payroll out of that 600 is probably going to be about $350, $400. That's going to leave you about $200. Now, once you add in your fixed cost, right? You add in your variable cost, you may see a very small profit, right? Very small, somewhere probably between 2 and 10%, more on the lower end. If you see a profit, most times than not, you're going to be operating a loss once you add in your fixed cost and your variable costs. You're not going to be making that money. And you're probably like, well, man, why you got me so high for payroll? Because you're not going to be able to get nobody to do that type of work if you don't pay them handsomely. Like, long are the days of minimum wage. Those days are over with. In my market, you work at McDonald's here in Chicago, you're making $20 an hour. Minimum wage in Chicago is $15.75. They can't get nobody to work for $15.75. They paying $20, $21 an hour. And they still can't get enough people. You see what I'm saying? So minimum wage was killed by the pandemic. It was killed by the pandemic, and it was killed by gigs, right? When people stopped coming to work because there was so much money out, everybody had to start paying more, right? And once you start paying more, you can't say, okay, guys, we were paying more because then nobody want to work to get people to come back to work. And now, since the pandemic is over with, so to speak, we're going to go back to minimum wage now. Minimum wage in some places in this country is still $8, $9. Who's going to work for that type of money nowadays? Nobody. You can't even get people to come to work for $20 an hour at a fast food spot. So when you go into labor intensive industries, you have to pay even more handsomely, right? Because there's plenty of opportunities out there for people to make that same amount of money by doing less strenuous work, all right? And you need to ensure yourself that these people are going to come to work every day. And the only way to ensure yourself of that is by paying them handsomely to the point where a person be like, hell no, I'm not going to miss work today. I get paid too much money. All right. So that's why your labor is going to be high. You know, you're going to pay even on a van route doing final mile. And the reason why I say Peloton, because in order for you to make money in a cargo van doing final mile, you have to do something that's more labor intensive. The more labor intensive, the more money. I can say, okay, you can go do Office Depot, or you can go do Staples, right, for either T-Force or Watco. But guess what? They're going to pay by the piece. Piece count's going to fluctuate every day. So some days you're going to have a lot of pieces. Some days you're going to have minimal pieces. Some days, more than not, you're going to have to come out of your pocket. If it's a slow piece day where they get 50 pieces and they're paying you $2 a piece, right? At 50 pieces, that's $100, right? Where are you going to get somebody to come to work today in today's time for less than $150, right? So you're going to operate at a loss, right? You're going to pay somebody $150 a minimum. Ain't nobody coming to work nowadays for no $100. $150 is probably about the best you can get a person to come to work for. All right. But if you only have a route on this day where the route only paying $100, you already negative $50 on your payroll, plus your operating your fixed costs and your variable costs. All right. Let's say it's a good day. You run an Office Depot or Staples. It's a $300 route. Already 50% of that going into payroll. Now you got 50% left, which is $150. You gotta add in your fixed costs, your variable costs. If you're renting a van, that's gonna cost you about $50 to $60 a day right there. Your fuel, right? And all the other expenses that you may incur, tolls, whatever other expenses you may incur. So if you do profit in a van doing supply, when I was running a van for Office Depot, I was making about $50 a day on the van. That's fine with me. You know what I'm saying? It's fine with me because it was compounding over time. And I had a lot of other accounts, other trucks, right? Where I got some accounts that are making a lot more money. My margins are a lot higher. I got some accounts that are making money. The margins are a lot smaller. And then I'm running Select Express where I'm operating in a negative, but it all balanced out. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with the cargo van, it's something you got to think of. But to answer your question, I would do I would do an employee, because I mean, here's the thing: if you're going to do an independent contractor, that means they're going to come with their own van. They're going to pay their own insurance. They're going to pay their own. You know, you probably come out better if you're not going to do on the truck. Now I think about doing an independent contractor. If you can go out and land the contracts, then you can say, hey, give me 10%, take 90%, or give me 15%, take 85%, and you just go out and land the work. The problem where it's going to come in there is that once they get in, because see, you're at work doing whatever you do at work, accountant, lawyer, doctor, whatever. While they're out, right, as an independent contractor with this account that you landed, but it's their van and they're getting 85% or 90%, they're talking, they're learning the business. I know this because it's happened to me a couple times. And eventually they're going to realize that, hey, you ain't doing nothing. You just did something that I can do. I can go apply for this same company and make 100%. And even if that goes against the non-compete clause, right? If you're a smart businessman, you're gonna when you onboard this person, you're gonna put a non-compete clause in the contract. I did a video on non-compete clause. You can go back and check that out. I'm not gonna go over that. And most logistics companies, they incorporate a non-compete clause into their contract as well. So even if the non-compete clause comes into effect for that particular company, they're just gonna go apply with another company. All right. So, it is what it is, because the person, they have all the leverage because they got the equipment. So they can really go apply, and eventually it's going to dawn on them, or in conversation and passing, they're going to get privy to this information. They're going to learn it over time anyway, so you could go either way. You'll probably save a lot if you IC it out, contract it out, but that's only going to last so long before they venture off and do it on their own. With the employee, you're going to have to pay unemployment taxes. You're going to have to pay Medicaid, Social Security. Got to cover the cost of the van. So you're going to operate at a loss with one van, and you're working somewhere else, That's just, you're not going to see profit in a van until you get to about somewhere between 4 and 5 vans, to be honest with you. I know that was a long drawn out answer, but I felt like I needed to give you all the variables from both situations for you to think about. I'm pretty sure you didn't think about all that stuff, so hopefully I was able to answer your question. Did I ever apply for grants? No. I was able to get that, that lottery contract, being a minority business, but applying for grants as far as capital for the business, no. I heard ADP costs a little money. I need to do more research on it. How many employees do you got, Don Solo? How many employees do you got? I use ADP. I do not recommend it at all for small business. I used ADP a few years back for my cleaning company. It was pay as you go. What is your business entity invested in? Stocks. So I've said this in the previous video. Whatever account that I've had, right, in the past, if it was a public company, right, we've invested into that public company, right? It's okay to double dip. If we're running for, let's say, Amazon, we own shares of Amazon. We're running Final Mile for JB Hunt, we own shares of JB Hunt. We're running for XPO, we own XPO, I feel like if you're in the trucking business and you're operating, you're running accounts. I know a lot of guys out there run for Amazon. I don't hear one person talking about they buy Amazon stock. It, behooves me if you're running Amazon Relay and you're not buying their stock. It just don't make sense to me. You're your own operator. An employee is going to get stock options. You're not an employee, you're a contractor, but you're still running for this company. You know what I'm saying? So why not buy stock options? Why not buy into the company? Why not own a piece of that company? I used to get flat for talking about Amazon, and I own shares of Amazon. I feel like I can talk about whatever company I own, whether I run it or not. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people should own shares of the company that they run for. Once again, you're your own boss. So these options aren't going to be presented to you like you're an employee. You have to go out and take these options. You got to do this legwork yourself. So as a trucking company, I think an early, learning on how to use your company to invest in other companies, the easiest way to start would be by buying shares of companies. And then I would say start buying shares of companies that you're running loads for. If you are running Middlemount, right, and you're using C.H. Robinson, one of these publicly traded companies, let's say brokerage companies, man, buy shares of them. Buy shares of XPO. Even if you're not running one of these companies, buy shares of these companies. I talked about it when I did the video for XPO. I said, XPO created two sister companies, GXO and RXO. When RXO IPO'd, for every single share of XPO that you had, they gifted you share per share of RXO. So if you had 1,000 shares of XPO, they gave you 1,000 shares of RXO at the IPO price, which was $19. Do the math on that. What's 19 times 1,000? That's free money they gave you just for owning shares of XPO. They gifted you shares of RXO, share for share. So, I think that, if you're looking for your company to invest into other companies, I think that's the easiest way to start, would be buying shares of other companies. And as you become uh, advanced into investing, then you can start buying into companies pre-IPO. All right, that's on more an advanced level where you become an investor, an early investor into a company. And then when it does IPO, then that's your cash day. That's when you cash out. You know what I'm saying? That's how Uber, going back to the example that I gave earlier, that's how Uber finally became profitable last quarter. They didn't become profitable off of Uber. They became profitable because of their investments into other companies. They invest into other companies. Uber will probably never be profitable based off their initial business. They'll never be profitable. Why? They did 2 billion rides last quarter, right? And they're still not profitable. Okay, well, we're not profitable off the rides. I know why they're not profitable off the rides. Okay, but they adapt a subscription model. Okay, let's take a page out of Costco's and Sam's Club's book. All right, Costco and Sam's Club doesn't make money off the stuff you see that they sell in the store. People say, man, Costco, Sam's Club, the lines are long, parking lots are always full. You'll think they're making money off the merchandise. All right, the merchandise in Sam's Club and Costco is very, very cheap. They don't make nothing off the merchandise. They make money off the memberships, the subscription. So Uber tried the subscription model. They still operating at a loss. So they did 2 billion rides last quarter. They have a subscription-based model, but they operate at a loss. Why do they operate at a loss? Because they do too many promotions, right? Because they have a business model that really probably it doesn't really work. It's good. They've got people adapted to using it, but it doesn't work. All right. They have a demand on the consumer base, right? So in order to meet the demand on the consumer base, they have to make sure they got enough suppliers. In order to keep suppliers on at different times of the day or different times of the month, depending on special events, Super Bowl, Christmas, rush hour, people going to work, they have to do promotions to get people onto the platform to supply to meet that demand, right? So they got consumers getting discounts, and then they got promotions for the suppliers. So they're spending money, right? In order for them to make money, they've invested in other companies, and that finally has turned into a profit for them. They'll never probably be profitable. They'll never be profitable. You know what I'm saying? But people who invested into Uber early when they IPO, they cashed out. So I say investing into companies, right? On the exchange, and then as you become advanced and you start hearing of new ideas, new companies, if you're lucky enough to buy in and invest in a company pre-IPO, then that as well. And that's what my company is always investing into stocks. You can invest in the real estate. You're a trucking company. Real estate might not be what you want to invest in. So I would say, you want to invest into logistics companies, logistics technology, even artificial intelligence. A lot of artificial intelligence is coming into the trucking industry. But I say, like I said on a previous live stream, you want to invest into autonomy. You want to invest into Google, Waymo, and all these other autonomous companies that are building autonomous, trucks. You want to be in on that early. It's going to go through a phase. In the next 20 years, you got to remember, part of the infrastructure bill is to phase out gas combustible engines, right? So by 2035, manufacturers won't be able to manufacture gas combustible engines where everything's got to be electric, right? So eventually everything is going to go electric. When you see a gas combustible engine, now it's going to be antique. By then, it's going to be very rare, right? So eventually, EVs, EV charging, and autonomy is going to go through another bubble phase. So now is the time to reinvest into that. And then when it does go into that bubble phase, then you want to start exiting your position and transitioning that money into something else. So in trucking, I say you want to invest into autonomy, EV charging, and EV. And this is not financial advice. Yep, a great accountant will show you how to do it and when. Right. So if you get a good accountant, a fair accountant, a affordable accountant, they're gonna show you all the tricks of the trade. Shannon Roseborough just became a member. Shout out to Shannon for becoming a member to the channel. Shout out to Shannon for becoming a member. Welcome to the Mentor Gang. Shannon's the latest Mentor Gang member. Shout out to Shannon. Welcome to the channel. What kind of money do you think a cargo van can net locally in a big market after fuel? I know van payment and insurance costs will vary. Man, it depends on who's running it. If you're running a business and you got somebody running it, your margins are going to be very small. If you're running it, you can maximize your margin by supplementing that van to do gig work. Here's the truth of the matter. A van is not going to make as much as a truck. It's going to make less, right? Because you have less real estate in the van for freight, right? You got less real estate, right? You hauling less capacity of freight. You got less real estate, right? So you're going to earn less, right? But you have to maximize what you earn by doing multiple things. And nowadays you have opportunities to do more stuff with your van. Me running office supply stuff in a van made about $50 a day. All right. I say if you're running office supplies, or let's say medical supplies, after all expenses, if you're in the van doing it, depending on the account and what you're getting paid, you can make about $100, $150 a day, Now you can supplement that by after you running your account, you got time left, you're willing to put in that extra work. Go pick up you a flex route. Go pick up you a spark route. See what's on roadie. See what's on freight. Now you're going to increase your earnings more. Making hundreds of dollars in a van a day is just not, it's just, it's just not feasible. You got to look at a van. If you can make 200, and I'm talking about net, $200 to $250 a day in a van net, then you're really working. You're putting in some work. An average van going to pay you about gross somewhere between $200 to about $425 a day. And I know that's kind of a big scale, but it's fair because if you're doing like parcel stuff, you're going to get paid by the piece. They're going to pay you by the piece. All right. And your piece counts are going to fluctuate every day. So that's why I have to give you that range, because a lot of that van stuff pays per piece, don't pay per route, because it's going to fluctuate. And that's why they pay you per piece. So after you deduct all your expenses, that leaves you with about $100, $150. If you got somebody in that van, it leaves you with less. So that's why I say with a van, you really got to operate at scale in order to see. That's why when you see these laser ship guys and all these guys, they're running fleets of vans. We can even go on a larger scale. Let's talk about Amazon. Why you think it's a minimum of 20 vans for Amazon? You see what I'm saying? Because they're not making much with Amazon. They're making 15 cents a piece. It's either 15 cents a piece or 15 cents a stop. It averages out to about, when I went through the onboarding process to be a DSP, it was $305 a day per route. Now you gotta understand, these routes per van, per route, whatever. You're talking about a van that's gonna be out 10 to 14 hours, $300. Each van, I'm making about $30, $50. I didn't go through it because I just didn't like the margins. So you make $300 gross. You're running on a 7 to 10% margin, and that's with Amazon. Same thing with every other company. You know what I'm saying? You get per piece. So somewhere between $200 to $425. Man, you might make $100 to $150 a day if you're on the van. If you're not on the van, you're making less, about $50. Van payment, insurance costs. You got to calculate your payroll, your deductions for payroll, your unemployment uh your unemployment insurance, taxes, your Medicaid, your Social Security, all that stuff. All that stuff, plus all your other variable and fixed costs. So not much, man. Like I said in my cargo van training live streams from a few months ago where I broke everything down, you probably gotta go back and watch one of them. You really gotta operate a van business at scale to really start seeing some money. You really got to operate it at scale to start seeing some money. If you're not in that van, you're not going to see money in that first van. You're not going to see money in that second van. You may start seeing money in the third van, but that depends. You're really not going to start seeing some type of profit until you get to that fourth or that fifth van. Walmart and CVS pharmacies are closing earlier in the day due to labor shortage. Yeah, I heard about that. They actually closing 3 Walmarts here. Like I say again, I'm in a big market. And they just announced the other day they closing 3 Walmarts in my area. Yep. If they can't staff them, they got to close them. So as I'm thinking of scaling, I'm wondering if a flat rate is better. Do I hire 1099 W2? I watch your content on YouTube. I appreciate the info. It all depends, man. 1099 is fine. W2 is fine. It all depends. W2, obviously, you owning the equipment and stuff. 1099, you don't own the equipment. But what are you talking about? Are you talking about a cargo van or a box truck? Are you talking about a cargo van or a box truck? And then as far as flat rate, if you're doing a W2, you can't pay them a flat rate. You got to pay them by the hour. W2, you got to pay by the hour. You'll get in trouble if you got somebody on a W2 and you're paying them a flat rate. All right. Eventually, you're going to get in trouble. All it takes is for them to go to the labor union, the labor board, and trick on you, tell on you. And they get to investigation. And once they start looking into your company, then they're going to look for everything. Once they start looking into your company, they're going to look into your company for that person. And they're going to look into your company for every person prior. So you're doing a W2, you got to pay them by the hour because they're an employee. All right. 1099, you can do a flat rate. But you got to understand with a flat rate, it's a flat rate. So regardless if the freight is there, or if it's not there, or you're taking the loss on the freight that day because the piece count ain't there, then you guaranteed that flat rate. That flat rate is a guarantee. So you're guaranteed, I'm going to pay you $150 whether the pieces can pay for your payroll or not. So it's something you really got to think about on how you structure your business as far as paying. Yep, 150 is the lowest. Yeah, you're not going to get nobody to come to work for less than 150 now. Just want to thank you again, Mark. It was because of you I was able to secure that Forward Air contract. Final mile blessings. Box truck real, appreciate you. Thanks for checking in. Let me know you was able to get that, man. Shout out to you, man. Congratulations for landing that. NDA upon offer, acceptance on every hire. Yeah, non-compete. Yeah, non-compete. Yeah, anybody that I've ever ran freight that works for me, they had a non-compete. I told a story. Actually, in my non-compete video, I told the story. I think on 2 situations where I had to, the non-compete came into play. People just don't know. They'll play with you. You know what I'm saying? They don't. Some people don't know business, and these corporate companies, they know what a non-compete is, but they'll think you stupid. And they'll try you too. You know what I'm saying? But you got to make sure you got that non-compete in order, because eventually it's going to happen. You hire somebody, they running for you. Eventually they're going to start counting your pockets. They're going to talk to people on the dock because you're not there. They working for you, but it's going to be other owner operators that are there working for themselves, and they're going to be telling, why are you working for this dude? You could do this yourself. Go get you a truck. Go rent you a truck. Why are you working for him? Man, this how much I'm making. You could be making this too. That's what goes on. While they in Dock Bay 1, Dock Bay 2 is an owner operator with his truck, and he tell him, man, you can do this yourself, man. I'll show you how to do it. It's gonna happen. It's happened to me multiple times. So it's just part of the game. But you have to make sure your paperwork, is in order. So we pay our guys per piece. Some items we work in the negative on. It's the nature of the business. Yeah, so some days you're going to operate at a loss. It's just part of the business. You're a business owner, so you got to take a loss. Some days you're not going to be profitable every day. Like, negotiating a guarantee with a third-party logistics company just doesn't exist anymore, And that's why I say, man, I have to put myself in the mind frame of a person entering into this space or operating into this space in today's time. A lot of the things that I was able to accomplish, you just can't do now. This ain't the wild, wild west for this industry no more. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just some days you're gonna operate at a loss. It's just a part of the thing, especially if you want to operate at scale and you got employees. Some days you're, as the business owner, just not gonna make money. Residential. Thanks for the info, Mark. If I decide to take the owner-operator route with a new cargo van at NYC, around how long will it take to scale to 4 vans if I reinvest 100% back into the business? New York, if you invest in everything you make back into the business, let's say you got 1 van running, you're not on the van, you're making about what, $50 to $75 a day. Let's say you're making about $250 a week. You're making $1,000 a month. I say within the first 6 to 12 months, that $1,000 you're making a month, you can reinvest that back into another van. After about 6 to 12 months, I say you can probably get to 2 vans the first year. I think by year 2, you can probably get to 4, somewhere between 4 to 6 vans. If you're investing 100% back, it means you're not taking anything home. Just everything that's coming in is going back out. So you're making $1,000 a month. You go back and get another van. You figure now you're going to be paying another, depending on the van you get, that money is getting reinvested back into a monthly note and cost on that another van note and the insurance. Well, 6 months to a year. So the first year you could probably do 2 vans, and then the next year you probably can go up to somewhere between 4 and 6. I did 3,500 in my van last week, and I'm home cooking my ham. Here we go. Axel does expedited though, guys. He doesn't want to do local. All you guys that said you want your van, you want to stay local. So he does expedited, where he's running across the road. He's sleeping in the back of his van. He doesn't be home for weeks at a time. So if you want to do that, then yeah, you can make that type of money. But I know a lot of you guys want to be home. You don't want to go over the road. So I had to join because you give it up consistent. I appreciate you more than you know. Appreciate you, Shannon. Appreciate you. Thank you. If a non-compete is violated, then that's when you sue. 9 times out of 10, if they violate the non-compete. So in my situation, when I got the branch manager on the phone for that logistics company and I brought up the non-complete, they told him he couldn't run no more unless he got written consent from me to say that he could run. They ceased his operation right then and there. They didn't want a lawsuit because what they did was wrong. It was unethical. So if you're looking to run OTR, then yeah, you can run expedite. You could do about, Axel did 3,500 last week. So that's him. Coming out the gate, you probably could do two grand, 2,500. You can do 3,500 too, but you got to have those relationships. All right, guys. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to skedaddle. Let y'all guys get ready for y'all Super Bowl. It ain't something I'm interested in, so I'm gonna let y'all get ready for y'all Super Bowl. Make sure y'all guys hit that like button. I appreciate y'all. I wanted to come on live. I didn't want to just not do a live. I said I'll come on early. I might come on early every Sunday now because I'm a little bit more refreshed. When I be coming on at 8 o'clock, man, I'll be tired and stuff, and I might come on early. I like this 1 o'clock thing. I might do this more often. Get it out the way. You know what I'm saying? 8 o'clock, I'll be tired and stuff, man. I got a headache right now, though, but yeah, hit the like button, guys. Hope you guys got some value. I hope I answered some questions for you. I'll be back Thursday. If there's no more questions, AJ Jemison, appreciate you for checking out the channel. When starting a business, how do you go about getting a business address? I heard you can get a virtual address and have it forwarded to your home address. You can definitely get a virtual address. Having you mean the mail forwarded to your home address? I'm not sure about that. I've never had a virtual address before. But you definitely can get a virtual address for your business. If you have a CPA, you can use the CPA's address. All right. If you got a CPA, you can use the CPA's address. But I'm pretty sure you can get it forwarded to your home address if you get a virtual address. It's just a virtual address will be on your articles of incorporation, because that's what people, when they go look up your business, it shows, the principal and it shows the address, right? You don't want your home address, right? If you don't have an office, you get a virtual address. Just make sure you get a virtual address that is on one of the tier levels that will forward that mail to your home. AJ, appreciate you. Yeah, iPostal is a good one, I heard. All right, y'all. Any more questions? I'll be back on Thursday. I'm probably going to do this early on Sunday. Now, I like this early, man. This is cool. I know Kirk come on it. Well, he probably ain't coming on today. I ain't see him post nothing. He comes on at 5, so I'll probably come on earlier. Mark, expedite brokers are starting to blackball people with improper insurance and picking and dropping late loads. They said they've had enough. Hey, man. The whole industry is blackballing people from what everybody's saying. People just got to know how to move in and navigate. This logistics industry is not the same anymore. As it goes on and new players come into the space, it's going to change. So, picking and dropping late loads, they've had enough. I'm starting an account with Cardinal next week. Did who did you talk to with Cardinal? Was it John? I had a meeting with Cardinal this week. Was it Cardinal? I had a meeting with a couple of companies this week. I think I did have a meeting with Cardinal this week. Hold on, let me see. Who's that? Cardinal. Was it Cardinal? Yeah. John Navin. Yeah, it was with John. Yeah. Did he mention me? Or did you mention me? Did he mention me? Because I sure had a meeting with John at Cardinal this week. And who was that meeting with? It was with John and Russ, I believe. I'm starting an account with Cardinal next week. What sort of equipment besides the truck, obviously, do you recommend? You need shrink wrap. You need tape. You need blankets, moving blankets. Get the thick ones. Don't get the cheap blankets. Get at least 2 dozen moving blankets to start. The thicker ones. Shrink wrap, tape, moving blankets. You're gonna need a good tool set. Not no Walmart tool set. You're gonna need a good tool set that you pretty much a set that you have to build. You're gonna need a driver drill. You're gonna need an impact drill. You're gonna need impact bits. You're gonna need driver bits. Make sure you get a good impact bit set. Not to get a nice count one, at least 37, 42 count impact. You're gonna need the hex bits because you're gonna deal with a lot of installation. So you're gonna want to use a drill instead of doing that stuff manual. So build you a nice tool set. Ratchet straps. You're gonna need to get that stuff, some paper. You can either use paper or you can use the sticky stuff to roll over the carpet. So when you're going into people's homes, you're not tracking up their carpet. I'm just thinking about with stuff that's on my trucks. I covered the back end of the truck, so I'm thinking about the front end right now. I said ratchet straps, blankets, shrink wrap, tape, carpet cover, tool set, furniture dollies. Man, you're gonna need at least per truck. I would say get about 4 or 5 furniture dollies to start. If you can't afford 4 or 5, at least get 2 to start with. Get a hand truck dolly. Hump straps, shoulder straps. Make sure you get hump straps and shoulder straps. That should be about it. I didn't know you knew him, so now I mentioned. Yeah, I know John. I had a meeting with them this week. They want to do some stuff with the channel, so they reached out to me. So you may see me doing some stuff with them on the channel. But yeah, I know John. Mark, how you say it? Dropping gems. Brokers like to discuss freight with golf. So you go golfing with brokers, Axel? That's how you able to get all these loads? You do these deals on the golf course? But congratulations, Victor, on your contract you're starting with Cardinal. Next time I talk to John this week, I'll tell him to look out for you. Yeah, so where did I see that? Create relationships with market managers and store managers that you service. Yeah, so she's right. You gotta create, good standing relationships. You want to be rewarded for the work that you do. So you're doing a good job. You need to make sure you stay in contact with the right people. So when the right things come along, your name and your thought of you will come across these people's mind. You know what I'm saying? So you do want to stand out, and the best way to stand out is by keep it, having a good relationship with the people that matter. Right. And then another thing is having an agreement to pay for your tools if your workers lose them or destroy them. Early in my days, man, you guys be surprised how many tool sets. Like I had so many empty toolboxes in my warehouse. It's pathetic. You know what I'm saying? Because I put a tool set on every truck. They'll leave tools at customers' houses. They'll just all type of stuff, man. It's like, man, like, so it's gonna be more work for you, but every day you need to do a checklist on the truck. And the only that you have to do it every day. Because if you miss a day, now if something's missing, you can't charge them for it because you don't know if it came up missing the previous day or the day before that because you missed the day. So you got to do a checklist every single day of everything that's on the truck down to the blanket. And that's how you prevent stuff from coming up missing. And then as it comes up missing, you charge the truck, you charge the crew, you know. And you got to make sure that's in their contract that they're going to pay for it. You can't just be charging people for stuff and you ain't got it in the paperwork. All right. All right. If it ain't no more questions, then we'll get out. So we got somebody starting with Cardinal this week. We got somebody starting with Ford Air. You know, and this just lets you know, people do want to do final mile. You know, I know, I was getting a lot of flack. Don't nobody want to do it, but listen, it's a lot of money in final mile, man. It's a lot of money. It's more work, but it's a lot more money in final mile. And ultimately, if you run your final mile business very efficiently, and you keep your claims to a minimum, you're gonna make a lot of money. All right, you're gonna make a lot of money. All right, yeah, guys, hit that like button. I appreciate everybody for coming in today for this brief Q&A. If there's no more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Hopefully I was able to answer everybody's questions. And then since we're talking about Cardinal, he sent me an email to let you guys know what accounts are available that they're looking for people for. All right, so Mattress Firm, the 7-day-a-week contract, right? And Cardinal is looking for contractors to run Mattress Firm in Connecticut, East Windsor, Connecticut, Denver, Colorado, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Fort Myers, Florida. Costco, 6-day-a-week contract, Birmingham, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, and Aurora, Colorado. Wayfair, 5- and 6-day contract, Lenexa, Kansas, Kent, Washington. Bob's Discount Furniture, 5-day-a-week contract, Stoughton, Massachusetts, Des Moines, Iowa. Nebraska Furniture Mart, 7-day-a-week contract, The Colony, Texas, and he says he's hiring for Home Depot, 6-day-a-week contract in Columbia, South Carolina. Pay varies per account. Some pay by stop, zone, and some daily flat rate. Accessorial for every account. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to have him come on the channel, and I have him talk more about Cardinal with you guys. He said he'd be willing. They'll be willing to do it. So I'm gonna have them come on and go further with it. My authority will be active on the 21st. I only have enough starting capital for insurance, truck, and equipment. My credit is bad, but I have a dream. Should Jesus take the wheel? You got enough for your insurance, truck, and equipment. You're gonna need some working capital, man. I'm not feeling cap to you, bro. You're gonna need working capital, man. You're gonna need working capital. So I don't know what to tell you as far as how to come about getting working capital, because since you're so new, you can't even get a hard money. The places I would send you for a hard money, you got to at least be in business 6 months, because they're going to want to see 3 months your receivables, and you ain't made no money. So you're going to need working capital, bro. I don't even know. Like, you need gas to even start doing the work. Like, you gotta have fuel. You know what I mean? So, I don't. This is what you're gonna need to do. You need to get off this live right now. You need to download Uber Eats, and you need to get out there Super Bowl. You need to start delivering some pizzas or something. And I ain't being funny. You need to do whatever you need to do to start building up money, working capital, so that when you do get the truck, you get the insurance, and everything goes active, you have a nest egg to get you through the first 2 weeks or whenever the first pay is. Because you're going to need to run. Whoever you run for, they're not going to loan you money to run. You're going to need this money. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to need working capital. So you need to do whatever you need to do right now to start building it up. If you got to go run some gigs, Walmart Spark, Amazon Flex, download Uber Eats right now. It's Super Bowl today, man. I'm pretty sure you can go out and deliver some stuff, man. You need to do whatever it is you need to do because you are going to need working capital. There's no way around. This is a business. This is a very a business that requires money to operate. You know, you need money. You're gonna need fuel. You're gonna need things. You're gonna need things. So you need money, man. You know, and I'm not trying to be funny either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm dead ass serious. If the 21st is right around the corner, that's next Tuesday. So if this is what you really want to do, you're going to do whatever it is you need to do to make it happen. If you got to go whatever, you're going to need the working capital. Bank ain't going to give it to you. You can't get a hard money loan because they can't. For a hard money loan, your future receivables is going to be your collateral, but you don't have 3 months of receivable to show statements to show them that you're making any money, that they're going to want to even give you a hard money loan or a high interest rate on your future receivables. So unless you have a family member or a friend that can front you some money, then you're going to have to go out and do what you need to do. James, you know, it's just this is not a cheap business to operate. You know, we talking about guys that's running middle mile making 5,000, right? And out of 5,000 gross, after all the expenses, they got $1,000 left or less. Some operating at a loss. The reason why is because the expenses in this industry, there's a lot of expenses in this industry. So I'm paying gas out of my pocket for my truck, $5,000 plus a month. Will I see that back in taxes? I know I shouldn't get a fuel card. No, you're not going to see it back in taxes. You're writing it off. The money you're spending on fuel is a write-off. You don't get that money back. You're writing it off. It means you don't pay taxes on it. That's not income. That's expenses. So that $5,000 a month, you're writing that off. You're a business. You're a business. You pay taxes. You're not an individual. It's a different ball game now. You're a business. You pay taxes. All right. So that's a write-off. It's a write-off. All right. It's either you're going to pay taxes, you're going to break even, you're going to operate at a loss. All right. You don't get money back in taxes because you got to pay taxes. It's a business. Your fuel that you're spending monthly is a write-off. All right, so you're gonna write that off. I'm gonna answer the rest of these questions. Give me 1 second. I gotta get some water, guys. I gotta get some water. All right, so yeah, so now I know I should get a fuel card. Unfortunately, that's not in the cards for my situation right now. Now, as far as this fuel card, if it's just you and your truck, I would recommend getting a credit card. With fuel cards, you gotta pay maintenance fees and all types of fees. I don't recommend getting a fuel card unless you got a fleet of trucks. If you ain't got a fleet of trucks where you gotta assign a card and you gotta set parameters for drivers and things like that, then I recommend getting a business credit card where you get rewards for pumping fuel. All right, you get cash back and things like that. That's what I recommend if it's just you and your truck. All right. So yeah. So, but you don't get money back. You're a business. You don't get money back. Businesses don't get money back in taxes. You pay taxes, or you write stuff off. So that $5,000 a month, you just writing that off. That's all. It's an expense. It's a write off. Not necessarily. There's ways around it. You don't gotta start with good credit if you got capital. You got working capital. I got a $1,500 fuel card for the first week coming in, and $3,800 tax return coming in 21 days top. Should I save $300 on not getting load boards and run Amazon? Really, I got $3,000 in stocks. Well, if you got $3,800 coming in taxes, you got a $1,500 fuel card, you got your money on fuel, that $3,800 should help you get through. You're just gonna have to be tight, make the right decisions. I don't know. You can run Amazon Relay. Everybody knows that I'm not a fan of Amazon Relay. So everybody knows that. That's no secret. Just not a fan of it, I think the 3,800 is enough for you to get through, the first week or two. I wouldn't sell any of your stocks if you got 3,800 coming and you got $1,500 fuel, card. I think you should be able to make it through. You're just gonna have to, be mindful of every single dollar you spend. The dream is real, man. Make it happen. What's the best option to get funding to start this business? Man, I get asked this question all the time, man, and I'm gonna be honest with you. The best way to start this business is by saving up to start it. Whatever you got to do to get the capital to get going. The tradition, like I know people see these guys and they say, you can get loans and stuff, but like I say all the time, guys, no bank is gonna give you a loan. Banks don't give loans to people anymore. They don't even give loans to businesses. In order to get a loan from a business, you gotta be in business 2 to 3 years. You gotta find something where you're making money and you're putting money aside to start this business. Unless you got someone that is an investor that is going to invest into this for you, that's going to put the capital up initially. That's the only way you're going to do it. It's just the honest to God truth, You got to save up. You got to do whatever you got to do. Get a job, gig work, start putting money aside to save up for this business that you want to get into. Got a credit card. Thanks. How I've been paying gas, using a card and paying it off. Yeah, I think that's the best way. If it's just you, just use a credit card. No sense of getting a fleet card, because with a fleet card it comes with fees, and if you don't have a fleet, there's no sense of paying those fees. WEX $2 a month. Yeah, I've never had WEX. I've always used Universal Premium. So. And they charge you per card. They charge you a maintenance fee. They charge you a fee per card. Obviously, the more trucks you have, the more cards you have. and some other fees too. So I don't know. I think if it's just you and your truck, a good credit card would do, and build up the points and the rewards. How do you get freight without a load board? A dedicated contract. But that's going to come more final mile. If you run a middle mile, you got to understand you're in a 26-foot box truck. So you're pretty much running partial loads for the most part. You're going to have to get them off a board. Unless you find some type of middle mile dedicated contract, which are far and few between for a 26-foot box truck. So, thank you, Mark. I've been driving for so many people for so long, I just can't do it anymore. I hear you. You got to do what you got to do, man. Just make sure that when you do it right. Do it right. That way you don't have any issues, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to start and then run into issues because you tried to cut corners. Just do it right the first time. Yes, that's the cheapest I found in 5 months in drive. I have all of that. Agree. Just going by what Fire said, he doesn't pay for load board. Yeah, if $2 a month is all Wex is charging, then that's cheap for a fleet card. But I haven't applied for a fleet card in 11 years. So so I don't know. I know back then when we got with Universal Premium, it was a minimum amount to even get with them. You can't just say, okay, I only want one card. I think the minimum was 3. You had to have 3 cars, 3 trucks at least. So, Wex is something that I've always seen pop up. I've seen the ads, but I've always been with Universal Premium. So, all right. Any more questions? I guess I'm gonna ask this, even though I really don't care. But who you guys got for the Super Bowl? That's gonna be my last question. I'm out. Who y'all got? I don't care, but I might place a bet, just a Hail Mary on DraftKings. Is it bad on your credit if you cancel Wex? I don't know what your contract was. I don't know what you signed up for. You signed up for a year, 2 years, 3 years? I don't know. You gotta look at your contract and see if it's a month to month or you signed a contract. If it's a contract, I'm pretty sure they got a penalty. All right, what time is it? It's 3:30 here. Just watch out. I want my number to come out if anything. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys for coming on the live. I think this was cool, man. I might come on earlier more often, man. Skip that 8 o'clock stuff, man. By 8 o'clock, I could be in the bed. Y'all be having me on here at 10, 11 o'clock at night. I might come on early every Sunday. This was cool, man. I feel good. Or I can answer the questions. Sometimes I'll be watching them playbacks. I'm like, what the? I know I'll be tired, man, because, so, yeah, I might do this. And I'm seeing different people in here when I'm coming in earlier. Some people, a lot of the same people, but I see a lot of other people too. Seeing some people I haven't seen in a while. So yeah, this is cool. Yeah, but I appreciate everybody for coming in. I hope y'all have a good Super Bowl Sunday. Don't drink too much or whatever, because you got to get up and go to work in the morning. Hit the road to Chicago at 11. You gonna be in Chicago tomorrow? But we have an unseasonably warm weather here. It's like 50 degrees outside right now. So it's unseasonably warm here, and when you get here, just mind your business and be safe. All right. Appreciate y'all. Happy Super Bowl. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. I will see you guys Thursday with a topic. Other than that, are you dropping off? Make sure y'all hit that like button. And I got some content coming out this week. I appreciate y'all. See y'all Thursday. I'm out. Oh, one last question. All right, what's your question? What's your question? What's your question? What's your question? Oh. $5-hour drive for 800 is that good? So wait, are you driving for somebody? Or are you your own owner operator? Because if you're your own owner operator, you looking at this all wrong. You driving for yourself or you driving for somebody else? Okay. So they offered you $800. You coming from South Bend? Oh, you coming from South Bend? Oh man, come on, man. That ain't nowhere. And where you just coming into the city? Yeah, that's good. I don't know why it's taking you 5 hours to get from South Bend though. Why is it taking you 5 hours to get from South Bend? So where are you going in the city? Are you coming to Chicago or are you going somewhere else, bro? Because South Bend ain't nowhere from here. At the most in a truck, South Bend is about an hour and a half away. And the most of the truck give you 2 hours. So I'm trying to figure out where these other 3 hours coming in at. That's why you said South Bend. When you said 5 hours for 800, I'm like, what are you talking about? Then you said from South Bend. Wait a minute, South Bend is an hour and a half away. Something ain't adding up. South Bend to Chicago is an hour and a half. So yeah, for an hour and a half, yeah, that's good. I don't have to really, you know, do the numbers on that. Yeah, let me know where you going. You might not be going in Chicago. You might be going, even if you go to the farthest northern suburb of Chicago, that ain't 5 hours coming from South Bend. I don't know. South Bend is a hop, skip, and a jump. South Bend, Indiana. That's not Chicago. Green Plants, Madison, Wisconsin. Green Plants, Madison, 395 Bustle Street. Hold on, let me put that in. Green Plants. Let me see. Madison. That might be Madison, Wisconsin. Now that makes sense. Uh, Yeah, see? Oh man, you gotta figure out your cost per mile on that, man. Cause now I can't even answer that question because you said Chicago. I don't know what you trying to do. You going from where to where? Madison, Illinois? Hold on, man. I ain't never heard of no Madison, Illinois. But it could be like a small little town downstate. Let me see. Madison, Illinois. Oh, you going to Madison, Illinois. So that's a small little town downstate. Let me see. 395 Bustle Street. 395. Yeah, that's not Chicago. That's a long way from Chicago. Bustle Street. Bustle Street. Madison. Yeah, Madison, Illinois. 395 Bustle Street. That is a long way from Chicago, bro. That's all the way downstate. So yeah, you're right. It's about 4 hours from where you're at in South Bend. No, I'm sorry. It's about 5 hours, a little over 5 hours, because I'm at almost the center point of the city. And from where I'm at to Madison, it's 4 hours and 11 minutes. And you figure from here, where I'm at, to St. Bend, South Bend rather, it's an hour and a half. So yeah, about 5.5 hours, 6 hours for you. Yeah. Yeah, Madison, Illinois is way down south. Southern Illinois. I don't know. That's how many miles is that? Let's see, how many miles? Where are they paying you per mile? Where'd you book that load out at? So let's see, South Bend. Let's see, South Bend. South Bend. Let's see. South Bend, Indiana, right? $357 miles. It's 357 miles. What's your cost per mile on that? You picked it up Friday and you dropping it off tomorrow. Yeah, if it's a van, it's good. You in a van or a truck? Oh, excuse me. Daniel, you in a van or a truck? So it's a partial. What is it? What's on there? Is that a full truckload or what are you hauling? You gotta be more specific. Did you grab that? You said you grabbed it on your way home. So is that something that's added to that's already in the truck? Is it a full load? And where are you headed to after you leave there? Where is home? Right. I'm trying to get the full scope of this thing. Four barrels. You got something else on the truck with it or what? Oh, okay. So you're headed home. You're headed from. Wait. Hold on. Let me scroll back. I'm confused now. You're leaving South Bend to go to Madison to drop off 4 barrels for $800, and then you're dead heading back to South Bend empty? Okay, so you're in South Bend now. You're gonna drive down to Madison, Illinois, to drop off 4 barrels for $800, and then you're gonna dead head back to Madison. I mean, back to South Bend empty. Well, from Madison, Illinois to Chicago is deadhead. That's about whew. See, because you said Chicago recently, so you might have thought Chicago and Madison was right next to each other, and it's not. From where I'm at to where you're going, my location to where from my location to where you're going is 300 miles. From my location where I'm at in Chicago to where you're going, and I'm downtown Chicago, 300 miles. So that means for you to deadhead from Madison back up to Chicago is going to be 300 miles. I don't. So. You shouldn't have to sit in Chicago. There's plenty of freight in Chicago. That should have been mapped out prior to you booking it. You're passing Chicago up to go to some town that I never even heard of. I've been in Illinois 43 years and I ain't never heard of no Madison, Illinois. So that town is small. You see what I'm saying? So your luck of finding something, I don't know. But then you're going to drop that off and then you're going to travel 300 miles back up here. I mean, yeah, ain't nothing wrong with it. But then which way you going to go then? You got to have like some type of route you go. You know, you allow them to fill up your full truck. You know what I'm saying? That's not something you want to do, man. You don't want to take a full truckload with a 26 footer. You want to do partials, man. You want to partial it out. So. Yeah. You want to partial your truck out. You did a full load. Hey, Mark, I still don't understand how to calculate my cost per mile because the variable cost confused me. To calculate fuel, do I have to figure out how many miles the truck drives on a gallon of fuel? No. You need to... Your fuel is going to be a variable cost, all right? So when you're calculating your cost per mile, what's your average fuel? How much do you spend a week? Just go off last week. Go off your expenses for last week. How much did you spend on fuel last week? How much did you spend on variable costs last week? Your fixed costs stay the same. All right. How much did you spend on variable costs last week? All right. Do a fixed cost per mile, do a variable cost per mile. Get those totals. All right. How many miles did you run? All right. Divide. All right. What number do you come out to? Your total cost fixed per mile divided by the miles you ran. Your total variable cost per mile divided by the miles you ran. Those two numbers, add them together. That's going to be your cost per mile. All right. So if you spent X amount of dollars last week on fuel, X amount of dollars on all your other variable costs, your hotel, your tolls, if you stayed in a hotel room, whatever, your food, whatever, divide that by your miles, right? Do the same thing for fixed costs. Add those two numbers together. That's your cost per mile. Very much appreciate your channel. Good overview of the industry, the lingo, the ins and the outs. Thank you. Sally, thank you for checking out the content. Appreciate it. You wanted this low so that you can give them your business card. Well, once you calculate your cost per mile on this particular load and see how much you lost on this load, then you could just write that off to what you spent to get them your business card. Just look at it like that, I guess. You this definitely cost you. So cost of doing business. So, well, Axel just gave you the breakdown. So if you wanted to give them your business card, it costs you to give them your business card. And that's fine too. You know what I'm saying? Just write it off. It's a write-off. Just don't, how come you just didn't walk in there and hand them your business card? Or you wanted to give the company in Madison your business card? And then if you wanted to get a company in Madison your business card, why you just didn't mail it to them? Or go on the company website, find out who handles all the business down there, and send them an email. Got to be a little bit more efficient with running your truck. It's 2023. So, you got to be he can write off the cost of the deadhead miles as far as like the fuel and stuff like that, the expenses that the deadhead miles incur. But there's no itemized category for deadhead miles, so no. But that fuel that's burning, you can write that off, obviously. Because you're going to have to pay for that fuel when you fill up. So that's going to be the write-off. More fuel. Daniel said he learning, but, I think Daniel's ways to put your card into the people's hands and have meetings and stuff. You can mail them, you can call them, you can email them, you can Zoom them. If you wanted to travel all the way to Madison, Illinois just to hand them a business card, then I don't think that was a good idea. But I think you need to learn partials. I think you need to learn how to do partials. Um, and you may have to venture out a little bit farther. Yeah, because if you're planning on deadheading from down there up here to sit, you would have been better off deadheading from South Bend to Chicago, right? If you were going to do that, to find something that's going way down to Texas and taking something from Texas and bringing it back up here, you know. So to come from South Bend to Madison, Illinois, then deadhead from Madison, Illinois, 300 miles back up to Chicago. Man, you're gonna get the partials out of Chicago. I don't know, man. See, these whole brokers cracking down on partial things, I heard that, but then again, Kirk said they not. So I don't know. That's not something I've been looking into because that's not what I do. But I did hear someone else said it, but then Kirk said they not. So I don't know. I'll leave that argument up for Kirk and everybody else. That's not something I'm going to go back and forth about. Partials. All right, but I hope Daniel's going to figure it out. I guess he'll be sitting up here tomorrow. Yeah, Kirk showed is not right. That's what I thought. But I don't know. I don't know, Axel. I don't know. Kirk said that, the partials are here to stay. So but just run that truck a little bit more efficient, Daniel, and you should be okay. Just learn how to run it a little bit more efficiently. Learn how to run it a little bit more efficiently, and I think you'll be fine. As long as you acknowledge the fact that you're learning, then all right, y'all. So I appreciate it. I will see y'all Thursday. Happy Super Bowl or whatever, and don't lose all your money. And don't get too drunk tonight. Make sure you go to work. I think when I pick up and drop off my first load, I'm going to have tears of joy. Hopefully I'll survive and break even to stay in business. Well, pretty sure you'll make money. Just, make sure you got some working capital. That's the only thing that concerns me about you. You said you just don't have enough work or don't have any working capital. Just make sure you got some working capital before you start. I don't want you to be stranded in the middle of America somewhere. You don't have no working capital, man. Just make sure you get you some working capital, bro. All right? I appreciate it. Axel wants to know, are you dispatching yourself? What time is this? 4 o'clock? All right, I'm out, y'all. Oh, well, he answered. Damn. Myself, it's a good feeling for sure being your own boss. Are you dispatching yourself or using dispatchers? He's dispatching himself. It's a good feeling being your own boss for sure. All right, y'all, I'm out. See y'all Thursday. I gotta go.